Hello, students. Good day. This is Sewas. Now, today I want to take you through rites of passage. Because of the lockdown, we are supposed to do something to help you as you stay in the house. And so, we will be doing some of these teaching online from time to time. So, today's topic is rites of passage. This is a topic that we are going to discuss from this time till maybe the lockdown comes to an end. But for now, we are here. So I believe that you pay attention to every detail because when school reopens, this topic will not be treated again. Okay, now this topic is very broad. It entails a lot. If we look at the rites of passages, it means we're going to talk about all the rituals that an individual goes through before he or she is ushered from one state to the other. So we'll be looking at naming ceremonies. We'll also be looking at puberty rites, marriage rites, and death rites. But for the purpose of today's learning, we are only going to pay close attention to naming ceremonies. But by the end of this lesson, these are the things you should have achieved. You should have been able to define rites of passage. You mentioned some examples of rites of passage. We define naming ceremonies and list at least 5 names given to naming ceremonies by some ethnic groups in Ghana. And explain at least 5 factors to consider before giving a name to a child. Welcome to Arimi. Okay, let's continue. So, if you look closely at rites of passage, now rites of passage, of course, are the various rituals or ceremonies which are performed to usher an individual from one stage of life to the other. So this means that the stages of life are birth, puberty, marriage, and death. Obviously, I believe that you go through all these stages in life. For you, as I'm talking to you, you've passed the birth stage. I believe you are in the pubic stage. Not too distant future, of course, you enjoy marriage. I hope. I know all of you are waiting to marry. I know. And then, of course, death. Now, the rites of passages are therefore birth rites, naming ceremonies or outdooring, puberty rites, marriage rites, and obviously death rites. Now, what are naming ceremonies? Now, they are the various rituals which are performed by most ethnic groups to welcome their newborn babies into the world. They are meant to give the newborn baby a name, an identity, and to introduce him to the family members as well as the community. Now, this is very important so that when the child is seen outside, family members will know the child and not call the child by any name. The child is given specific identity and even recognition by the family. Now, this is very important for the purpose of inheritance and considering the child as one of the family members. Okay, let's go on. Now, the various ethnic groups in Ghana have different names for naming ceremonies according to their language. Now, the following are a few examples. Now, I believe that if you don't find your ethnic group among these examples, you'll be able to add yours, of course, because obviously it's not every ethnic group in Ghana that will be able to assemble the names given to their naming ceremonies. So if you're an Akan or Asante, of course you call it Abadinzo. Now note that the Akan ethnic group is a broad ethnic group. It comprises of a lot of groups. Even the Fantis are here, the Asantis are here. We can classify the Zimas here, the Achims, the Kapims. So if yours is not here, and I've mentioned yours as one of the accounts, you can just find how your people call it. Your people call naming ceremonies in your language. The Ghanaians, of course, call it Kujimo. No, don't look at my spell of Kujimo because I was trying to write something to represent something. Now, the Dagombes from the northern region call it Suna. Then the Eves, my very own people call it Vihedego. Don't get me wrong, I'm not an Eve. I'm one of you. Okay, so let's go on. Then let's look at a few facts on birthright. Now, because the communities differ, they have different ways of doing things, and their beliefs are also different. Now, let's go through a few of these. Among the various ethnic groups, when a child is born, he is considered a stranger, and this reflects how he or she is called before a name is given to the child. So, among the Akans, the child is called Ohoho, that's a stranger. That is before the 7 days will be up for the child to be given a name on the 8th day. The Evers also call him Amedru. The Dagombes also call him Sandu or Sampaga. Sandu or Sampaga meaning the reincarnated one. Now, even among the Akans, they believe that every individual who is born has spiritual parents in the spiritual realms. And so they keep the child in the room for 7 days for fear that if the child should be brought out, the spiritual parents may see the child and call the child back. That is the child dying, of course. So they make sure that they keep the child in the room to see whether the spiritual parents will not call for the child. So that on the 8th day, the child is given a name. Okay, so let's go on. Now the Akans, the Nzima and the Eves, the Gas name their newborn babies on the 8th day. I believe most of you fall within these categories. You will know that naming ceremonies go on in your families around this day. But nowadays, because of modern trends, some of these may not be the actual day for the naming ceremony. But traditionally, that is what it's supposed to be on the 8th day. Nowadays, when children are born with maybe minor diseases and they are kept in the hospital for a long time, that may defeat the idea of naming ceremony being organized on the 8th day. I believe you know that because in those days there were no hospitals, and so even children are born in the house attended to by traditional birth attendants who do all the things. So exactly on the 8th day, names are given to the child. Now the ethnic groups such as Sisal, Mamprusi, and other northern ethnic groups such as the Grusis also name their male children on the 3rd day and the 4th day for the females. Don't ask me, ask tradition. Don't ask me why. Ask tradition. Obviously, let's continue. Okay, so that is some of the few things you need to know about the disparities in that is when names are given to the child. Now let's come to the factors to consider before giving a name to a child. You all have names, and your parent thought of different factors before they give you those names. Okay, so let me take you through a few of them. So the first one, the weekday on which the child was born. Now I believe we all have names like Kofi, Kwajo, and the rest reflecting the day that you were born. But that may not be your actual name. Maybe one of your names. Okay, so let's look at this. Now among the Asantis, now most of the examples would be examples from the Akan community because I'm an Akan. And so you can also look for how these things happen in your uh, ethnic group or language group. Now among the Asantis, a male child born on Friday is named Kofi. And a female child born on the same day is called Ifia. Now the Fantis will say Efua and the rest. So you can also give your own example according to your ethnic group. Apart from that, the ethnic background or affiliation of the child or parents. Now, if you look at the ethnic groups in Ghana, they have special names to identify their members. Example, the Akans give names such as Ohiniwa, Abuaji, Owusu to their children. Hmm? Whereas the Gans may also give names such as Ashiti, Ukaili to their children. Here too you can add more. Don't be confined to these few examples I've given you. But the most important thing is that the ethnic background of the child or the parent may determine the child's name. Now, let's go to the third point. Now, whether the child or whether the children are twins or triplets. Among the Akan's names like Penny, Atapenny, and Atakakra are given to male twins. I don't know which language group you belong to, yet you can give your own example. If you're an Akan, find how two male twins are called, or maybe find out how maybe males like twins, a boy and a girl, are called. Mm, yes, so let's be creative about this. So in the exam, if you want to give an example, you find the example that you can remember, which is definitely correct. Otherwise, you need to stick to this because this is researched and proven to be correct. So let's continue. Now the order of birth. The order of birth. Now among some ethnic groups, the order of birth normally determines a child's name. Example, among the Akans, a firstborn child is called PC, a thirdborn child is called it's called Mensa, and the last one is called Ketri. Of course, a second born child is called Menu, even the fourth born is called Manan, and the rest continues like that. So if somebody is called PC, you definitely know that the person was the firstborn of his family. If the person is called maybe Menu, you know is the second born, and it continues like that. So the order of birth by which the child was born determines the child's name among certain ethnic groups. So you can see that I give specific example of an ethnic group to support every explanation, and that is what needs to be done. So anytime you're answering this question, don't just write maybe the order of birth. They write a firstborn child is called PC, the second-born child is called Menu, and the rest. In which language? Cite one specific ethnic group to support your claim or your answer. Let's go on. Then the circumstance or the situation in which the child was born. The circumstance or the situation of a child's birth can determine the child's name. Example, it is not every time that children are born at the time that their parents are expecting good fortunes. Sometimes they may be born in very, very dramatic and hard times. And so parents may normally give names like that to their children to remind themselves the situation that they were going through when the child was born. So let's go on. Example, among the accounts, a child born after the death of his father may be given the name Antu or Antubam. Now, similarly, the Anglo people give the name Chigbe to a child born on a rainy day, whereas the Anglo, of course, the Anglos are also part of the Eves. Whereas the Kasina people of the northern region give the name Aria to a child born on a sunny day. So note the names. I believe the names are rhyming in your in your head. Echigbe for the Anglos, child born on a rainy day, and Aria, a child born on a sunny day. Okay, so the sixth and final point, the religious background of the parents. Now, obviously, nowadays, when children's names are mentioned, you know the religion that they belong to. So, the religious background of parents or the child. The names given to a child in recent times may reflect the religion of the parent. Christians may give names such as Samuel, Caleb, Amos, whereas Muslims may also call their children Musa, Muhammad, and Farida, depending on what? On their sexes. So, you can add your own examples and make sure that as you do that, you check whether they are correct because we are only interested in what is a fact. Now, you may have seen a lot of factors in your book, but I'm telling you that most of them are not examinable. So I've clearly chosen 6 of those factors that you are seeing now. I believe that this lesson has been beneficial to you and we will continue next time. I'll send you some questions on the